Tusk 3-1, radio check. Uniform.
Read you 5x5.
Alright. So, we're looking at another 2-hour sortie today?
Negative. In 2 hours we can barely scratch the surface of the pad.
Yeah, thought so.
But we will do something new.
What's that?
We won't be wasting a bunch of time on the ground. We have some people up on the range that will be part of the training, and we wouldn't want them to get sunburns, would we?
Sure. Well, then grab the A-10C. Stand by for check-in on 33.5.
Negative 7,000 feet. Temperature 43. 2.13. Altimeter 30.
Tusk 3-1, checking Fox mic.
Two's up on 33.5.
Good. Let me know when you're good to go. I'll contact clearance.
Wilco.
Right.
Pull up, pull up. Altitude, altitude.
is good to go.
Roger, stand by. Contacting clearance. Dallas clearance, Tusk 3.
Tusk 3, send it.
Tusk 3 is looking for a VFR north departure for the north ranges.
Tusk 3, Nellis clearance. You are cleared up to Dry Lake using the PAC North departure. Report Apex. Climb and maintain Angels 1-2. Departure on 385.4. Squawk 4020.
Cleared to Dry Lake via TAC north departure. Climb and maintain 12,000 feet. Departure 385.4. Squawk 4020 for Tusk 3.
Tusk 3, read back correct. Switch ground 275.8 when ready. Have a good day.
Ground at 275.8. Good day. Switch ground.
Two's up on 275.8.
Biff, I'm good to go. Anything else before we start rolling?
Yep, two things. First, the game plan for today. We'll go up to Dry Lake, then contact Blackjack for range entry. Our playground will be Caliente and Coyote. We'll focus on use of TAD or Tactical Awareness Display. That is a new thing that came with the Charlie upgrade you didn't have a chance to explore in depth, right?
Correct. Not outside of the sim at least.
Cool. It's a very handy tool that will augment your situational awareness, help you locate friendly units and flight members, coordinate with other flights, or receive tasking information from JTAC and a litany of other shit. We'll do all that and more during today's sortie. Ready?
Yeah, can't wait. And, the second thing.
We need to set up our group and own IDs. We've done it before, but just for reference, let's go through the process step by step. Ready?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, on your left MFCD, press OSB 15 to access your TAD. Alternatively, you can use Coolie Hat left to cycle the pages. Let me know when you're there.
Okay, I'm on the TAD page.
Now press OSB 10, marked NET, to enter the Saddle Network Configuration page. Saddle stands for Situational Awareness Data Link. That system allows for communication with other friendly forces, both airborne and on the ground. What we need to do here is set our group number and our own number within that group.
Alright.
So pick up your kneeboard and set the group and own IDs using the UFC or CDU keypad, and let me know when you've done it.
Both group and own IDs are set.
While on this page, have a look at the option next to OSB 17 marked Call. Here, you can enter your own call sign, although it won't be necessary for today. We will cover the rest of the options over the range. To expand on the symbology for aircraft in your same group, the blue icon will have two numbers with it, one inside the circle, one below it. The number inside of the circle is that aircraft's own ID within the group. The number outside of the circle indicates its altitude in thousands of feet. There is also a little line extending out of the circle indicating its direction of travel. Alright, make sure to return to the main TAD page. Go ahead and contact ground when ready, and let's get out of here.
Okay, stand by. Nellis ground, Tusk 3.
Tusk 3, go for ground.
Nellis ground, Tusk 3. 2 ship of A-10s with you at Thunder with November, looking for taxi to the active.
Tusk 3, Nellis ground, clear to taxi for runway 03 right via Charlie, Golf, and Alpha, hold short of 03 right.
Clear to taxi via Charlie, Golf, Alpha, hold short 03 right, Tusk 3-1. One is rolling.
Two is rolling.
Nellis ground, Buzzard 2. 2 ship of F-16s with you at the Revies, ready to taxi.
Buzzard 2, Nellis ground, clear to taxi in order behind Tusk 3 for runway 03 right via Golf and Alpha. Hold short 03 right.
Taxi in sequence, Golf and Alpha, hold short 03 right.
Tusk 3, contact Nellis Tower at 327.7.
Tower 327.7, see ya. 2, switch tower.
2's on 327.7.
Nellis Tower, Tusk 3, holding 03 right at Alpha, ready for departure.
Tusk 3, Nellis Tower, winds are calm, cleared for takeoff, 03 right.
Clear for takeoff, runway 03 right, Tusk 3. One is rolling.
Two's rolling. Two's miles up.
Nellis Tower, Buzzard 2, holding 03 right at Alpha.
Buzzard 2, Nellis Tower, the winds are calm, cleared for takeoff, 03 right.
Clear for takeoff, runway 03 right, Buzzard 2.
Tusk 3-1, contact departure, 385.4.
Switching departure at 385.4, Tusk 3-1. Departure Tusk 3 with you over Apex.
Tusk 3-1, Nellis departure, radar contact. Continue on path north towards Dry Lake. Contact Blackjack at 377.8.
Continue tack north, contact Blackjack, Tusk 3.
Blackjack is then turned towards the range.
Okay, go 377.8 and stand by. Blackjack, Tusk 3.
Send it for Blackjack.
Blackjack, Tusk 3 with you at Apex, looking for clearance up to Coyote, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Caliente, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie.
Tusk 3-1, Blackjack. Request approved. Entry via X-ray. Advise when departing. Contact Wiley at 370.825. Have a good one.
Tusk 3 copy. Entry X-ray. Wiley at 370.825, and we'll give you a call back when we're finished up. Thanks. See ya. Wiley, Tusk 3-1.
Tusk 3-1, go ahead.
Tusk 3 is headed your way as frag.
Tusk 3, Wiley E, Roger. You guys have Caliente Alpha and Bravo, as well as Coyote Alpha and Bravo. Alamo Alpha and 6-1 Alpha and Bravo from 1630 to 1750.
Wiley Echo, Tusk 3-1. We own Caliente Alpha and Bravo, as well as Coyote Alpha and Bravo, Alamo Alpha and 61 Alpha and Bravo until 1750.
Alright, with the formalities out of the way, let's first go through the basic functions of the TAD. In your kneeboard, you have the description of all the symbols you can find on the TAD, which we'll come back to. With the TAD SOI, you can use the slew control on the throttle to move the cursor around the screen. Go ahead and try it out now.
Okay, done.
Second thing is the scale of the moving map. You might have noticed that if you move the cursor to the edge of the screen, the scale automatically changes. You can also use your HOTAS and press the EMS switch up or down to achieve the same effect. Try it out and let me know when you're ready to continue.
Okay, done.
The two rings that are centered on your airplane are also connected to the scale and provide you with a quick and easy way to judge distances. The outer ring equals the current scale of the TAD page displayed in the top right. The inner ring represents half the distance of the set scale. For example, with a scale set to 20, the inner ring would be 10 miles away from you. Also, the inner ring has 4 markers representing the cardinal direction, with the triangle one always pointing towards magnetic north.
Smart. Does it work the same in the depressed mode?
Looks like somebody did his homework. Nice. Press the EMS right once to enter this mode. What do you see?
The own-ship symbol moved down. Only the inner circle is visible, and the outer one was replaced by 2 partial arcs.
Indeed. Now the outer arc represents the scale setting and also equals to 3 times the diameter of the inner range ring, which means that for the 30-mile scale, the inner range ring will be 1/3 of that, so 10 miles between the own ship symbol and the ring. The inner ring arc is twice the diameter of the inner range ring, which in our case means 20 miles. Easy enough?
Pretty straightforward. So, what scale settings can we use for the ring?
Stand by one, we're getting there. Press the DMS right once again and exit to depressed mode.
Okay, I'm back in Sen mode.
So for the centered mode, you start with 5 and then double with each increment. So 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, and up to 160. For depressed mode, we start with 7.5 miles and double every time. So 7.5, 15, 30, and so on up to 240.
Nice. Anything else on the scale?
That's basically it. The last thing is the scale of the moving map itself, which is displayed below the field of view numeric. Oh, it is worth mentioning that you can also turn the map on and off.
Okay. Guess that's mostly useful at night.
Or when you want to declutter the view, but yes, mostly at night. Using OSB 20, you can choose between the 3 different options: off, manual, and auto. In off, the map disappears completely, and in manual, it will stay on the scale that was displayed when you enabled this option. In auto, and this is the recommended setting, map format will adapt to the corresponding scale set on the tag. Go ahead and try different configurations, change the scale in auto mode, then choose one format, switch to manual, and change the scale up and down. Let me know when you're ready to continue.
Alrighty, ready to move on.
So the next thing we'll cover are the options visible on the TAD main page. Ready?
I am trembling with anticipation.
Good. So the control option below OSB 1 will take you to the TAD profile control page, which allows you to modify or create different profiles. Switch between them using OSB 2 to 5. Let's talk about a few other things first, then we'll circle around and reattack it.
Roger.
In the top right corner, you have the field of view scale and a map scale directly below it. Further below, you should see B off, and we'll return to that later.
Okay.
Moving on, OSB 9 is used to choose whether lat-long coordinates or military grid reference system, GRS, is displayed at the bottom of the page on a black background when the symbol is tagged. You can also switch it off completely.
Okay. We mostly use MGRS, right?
Normally, yes. However, sometimes you'll need to switch to lat-long, for instance, when you want to coordinate with our European allies, or even other U.S. assets. For instance, when I was on an exchange program with the French Air Force, holy shit, we used only lat-long in the Mirage, as it didn't have a system for handling MGRS.
Dude, you'll have to tell me more about that time in the Caucasus.
Over a few years? Sure. So, below you'll have your net option for setting up the saddle, which we have already covered. In the bottom row next to OSB 11, you will find the declutter option, which removes all labels except page selection. Try it now, and then return to the normal mode when you've had a look.
Okay, might become pretty handy when there's a lot going on the TAD.
Yep, so this is where the different TAD profiles will come into play. The other options in the bottom do not interest us at this time, so jumping to the top left corner is your current bearing and range from bullseye or a selected anchor point.
Nice, very useful. Anything else here?
These are the basics. Let's turn to waypoint 3 and then move on to some more advanced stuff.
Roger that.
anchor here so that you can fully focus on the next part. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready to continue.
The TAD profile control page can be accessed by pressing OSB1 on the main TAD page. What it allows you to do is modify the settings of the 4 different profiles that are listed under OSB 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Why would I want to change the default one?
The standard ones are very okay, but you might want to personalize some things. And now we will learn how to do just that. On most sorties you will not even touch this, but there may be times when you want to adjust how your TAD works. Okay, do me a favor and enter the profile control page by pressing OSB1. Let me know when you're there.
Okay, I'm on the control page.
Great. Let's check the default profiles. Normally they are listed on the top row, but you can also switch between them from this view using OSB 19 and 20. Currently displayed, one should be named All. If it isn't, please find it using the OSBs that I just mentioned.
Okay, done.
As the name implies, this profile has enabled all of the information that can be displayed on your TAD. See the range rings, waypoint labels and lines, your own speed, and the speeds of other aircraft if they're actively broadcasting their speed, and so on. The problem with this profile is that the view may easily become cluttered when there is a lot of action going on. And therefore, for SA's sake, it might be useful to change it to something less busy.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Kermit, let's have a quick word about exactly what a speed is and isn't before we get much further. Firstly, the jet will always have a speed. On startup, it defaults to the currently selected steer point. When we change the speed, we're actually telling the jet what system is supplying that speed. If we use the TAD to hook any TAD object, then set the TAD as our speed generator, we can then slave our pod and weapons to that spot that we've hooked. If we use the targeting pod to generate a speed, then hit China hat forward long, all our stuff will slave over to that spot, but the pod will do nothing. Because where it is looking is the speed.
Alright, makes sense.
The important distinction here is that when we so-called set the speed, what we're actually doing is saying where the targeting pod is looking at, the currently selected steer, or where the HUD's TDC is at, is what I'm interested in. The aircraft only knows I'm interested in where the pod's pointing at. It could be a T-90, a bridge, a guy planting an IED, or an empty field. It's all about where the crosshair hits the ground at any given time. Also, it's worth mentioning that we can only have one speed. You cannot have a speed through the TAD and another through the targeting pod. It's one or the other.
Roger.
To break it down to the most basic level and to move away from the TAD for a moment, the jet has a speed all the time. With TMS forward long command, you can tell the jet which sensor is generating that speed. By default, it's your current steer point, and whenever a sensor can no longer generate the speed, it automatically resets the speed to steer point. With me so far?
I'm still tracking.
Good. FYSA, you can always check the speed source or the speed generator in the lower left corner of the HUD.
Lower left corner of the HUD for the speed source. Got it. And how about the TAD? Can it generate my speed?
Good question. Yes, the TAD can generate your speed, but in the TAD you'll need to hook an object first, like a mark point or shared speed. If you got nothing hooked, the tag won't become your speed source. And when you unhook the TAD object, the speed will...
Reset itself to the steer point, correct?
Exactly. Ready to get back to the default TAD profile?
Affirm. Back to the profiles.
Using OSB 20, change the currently displayed profile to L off. Let me know when you've done so.
I'm in L off now, and the lines connecting waypoints have disappeared.
Exactly. The next press should get you to ACT. When you're there, move the cursor around and tell me what's the difference between this profile and the previous profile.
When I get the cursor over anything, there is no data displayed about it, and the coordinates also disappear.
That's it. The next press will get you to none, where all of the layers disappear, and the final press will get you to DSLT, or default, which is the only profile you cannot delete. You're probably saying to yourself, I wonder, how does he know that? Well, I'll tell you. I know that because the small circle next to the DEL legend under OSB3 disappeared, and it was there in all the other profiles.
I'm speechless.
Okay, time to learn how to create a new profile. Go ahead and press OSB 18, mark new.
Nothing happens. I get the CICU input error message on the CDU.
Shit. That's because we forgot to add a new name for the profile. Clear the error and add a custom name using the UFC or CDU. It cannot be longer than a total of 3 letters or numbers. Type PR1. That's Papa Romeo 1.
Done. PR1 is now displayed next to OSB 18.
Sweet, go ahead and press OSB 17, labeled Change Settings.
I can see a table named TDL Symbology.
Awesome. This is a place where you can alter all the settings for each of the profiles. Let's go through them one by one and decide what we want to keep.
I'm ready.
The first one determines the bullseye symbol is displayed on the TAD. If set to off, it'll also disable the information about your current position in relation to the bullseye, which is displayed in the top left corner of the screen.
Gotcha.
The second option enables or disables the range rings, which we discussed earlier on.
Yep.
The third option determines how the TAD cursor will behave when it's placed over a symbol. If set to off, obviously no data will be displayed. You can also set to ACT, which will only enable active hooking. So, unless you hook the given symbol by pressing EMS forward short, you won't see any information about the symbol. Finally, when set to on, it will enable both active and passive hooking. Passive hooking allows you to see all of the information, even if you hover the cursor over a given contact or symbol. Keep that in mind as we'll be coming back to it in a few.
Cool.
Below that, you can enable or disable the lines connecting waypoints when in flight plan mode.
Roger.
Next option turns on and off waypoint numbers.
Okay, what about their names?
You can check those on the CDU repeater page and in the HUD, but they aren't displayed on the tag, just the numbers.
Ah, okay.
Moving on, you can also disable the waypoints, which will also obviously turn off the waypoint line and the label. The word of caution here, if you disable the waypoints, you will also turn off the lines and labels, and they will not turn back on when you set waypoints to on, in which case you will have to enable them manually. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Good. The final option determines which speed or special points of interest will be displayed on the pad. Choose between all, where you'll see the speed of your wingmen and other settlement flights, or own, where you'll only see your own speed. We're supposed to hook up with buzzers 2 and mess with speed in a few minutes.
Can't wait.
I should explain that with the A-10C being on saddle and other aircraft like Vipers or Hornets being Link 16, we're still able to send some information back and forth so long as we have the necessary support assets in place to facilitate that flow of information.
Roger.
Alright, now take some time and play with these settings to set up your current profile however your little heart desires. Once you're satisfied, press OSB 3 to save it, and then OSB 2 to return to the main pad page.
Profile is saved and I'm back on the main page.
Now, if you look at the profiles listed on the top of the pad, and you may need to press OSB 1 to see them again, chances are that the one we have just created is not one of them. However, wise people working on the Charlie upgrade made it possible to manually set the list of profiles listed there. Care to have a gander at how that is done?
Not really.
Well, that's too bad, because I'm going to tell you anyway. It's quite easy. Press one of the profile names, so NEOSB2205, for around 1 second. You should see a new page on the screen.
Yes, I'm now in the TAD display program.
Word! Now if you press any of the OSBs next to a profile name, you will highlight it. Then move to the top row by pressing OSB 2, 3, 4, or 5. You will notice that the highlighted profile will replace the one in the top row. On the left, there should also be the PR1 profile.
Correct.
Go ahead, highlight it, and then put it in the top row, replacing any profile of your choice.
And done.
Pretty straightforward, eh? Two more things of note. Firstly, you can only have 2 profiles with the same name in the top row, so if you try to place a second one anywhere, the first one will disappear, leaving a blank space. Secondly, you can delete any profile by pressing the CLR XP10, and then clicking any of the profile names in the top row. Capiche?
Yep.
Cool, alright. Return to the main tab page, press OSB 15, and let me know when you're ready to press on.
And lead is ready to move on.
Very good. What we'll do next, we'll get a hold of Buzzard and talk a little bit more about the symbology, speed, hooking, and EXP mode. Go ahead and push towards error 4. When ready, contact Buzzard 21 on 377.800.
Raj. Buzzard 2-1, Tusk 3-1.
Go for Buzzard 2-1.
Tusk 3-1 is en route to your posit. We'll give you a heads up when we're ready for you to commence your run.
Buzzard 2-1 copies, ready when you are.
Alright, since we have some ground to cover, let me show you another useful feature of the tactical awareness display. Make sure this pad is SOI, move the cursor over here 4, and press the China hat forward short for me.
Okay, done.
What you just did, you switched the view to expanded or EXP mode. In the top right corner of the MS CD, you see EXP1 displayed along with the skill. In this mode, the view is centered on your cursor rather than your plane. Picking up when I'm putting down.
Yeah, more or less.
Good. The default skill after entering EXP mode is 2 times field of view. If you press the China hat forward again, you will enter EXP2 mode, which defaults to higher zoom. 4 times field of view skill. That zoom level is the magnification of the map behind all the symbology. If you wanted to return to normal zoom and the tab centered over your aircraft, you would press the China hat forward once more. But don't do that for now. You may be wondering why you need this mode. I mean, your own aircraft may not even be on the tab at this point.
Yeah, can't crack this one.
Well, you can use a slew and it'll move the map background, so you can put a cursor on a specific spot you want it and leave it there. You can also zoom in and out as you normally would using DMS up and down. The advantage here is having a static God's eye view of an area of interest. All of the assets on the data link will be visible against the background that is not moving, as opposed to the normal pad view, which is always centered around your aircraft. Go ahead and try and move the view around.
Okay, I see it.
Now, follow the flight plan and slew it all the way to our target waypoint. Then zoom in or out so that you have a nice view of the area with Buzzard 2 inside of the field of view.
I'm there. I can see Buzzard and 2 green crosses near waypoint 5.
The crosses are saddle-equipped ground units. That usually means a JTAC, but not always. The tanks, some Humvees, you name it. So the upside of using the expanded mode is having better SA and recognition of the position of friendly forces in some instances. The downside is you not slew the cursor around to check some additional information about them. I mean, you can, but it's quite cumbersome as it moves the whole map with it. Still, you can get a good view of the terrain you're going to be flying over even before getting there, provided the map is followed.
I can already see how handy it can be.
Oh yeah, another example is when flying in the mountains and during low visibility. I know some bros use this option a lot in Afghanistan or during a nasty mission in the Caucasus where they had to navigate valleys during strong overcast. You'll also immediately get a sense of who is where and doing what. My advice is use it as often as you can.
Sure, I definitely will.
Cool. Okay, orbit 25 miles northeast from waypoint 5 until Buzzard. We're ready to begin. The AO on the TAD screen, I'll cover the data link and additional symbols showing up depending on what others are doing.
Roger, stand by. Buzzard 2-1, Tusk 3-1.
Go Tusk 3-1.
Tusk 3 is on station. When you guys are ready, we can start working target.
Buzzard 2-1 copies. We're going to be in from the east with GBU 12.
Alright, so you should see a small white wedding cake symbol in the spot where Buzzard's target is. This is Buzzard's speed or center point of interest that he is sharing with others. There is also a blue line extending from Buzzard 2-1's aircraft symbol to that spot.
Neat. Is this automatically shown on everyone else's display?
Only if you're on the same net and you choose to share your speed, which we'll look at now if you're good.
Sure.
Okay, so if you want to get the exact location of that target or attack it yourself, there are a number of things that you can do. The easiest one is to hook his speed and then set it as your own. To do this, put the cursor over the speed and press TMS forward short to hook it. It is usually best to do this by entering EXP mode on the TAD to stabilize the display and even zoom way in to make sure you're going to grab and hook the correct thing. Let me know when you have it done.
Done. Yeah, you said there are several options for me, hooking being only one of them?
That is correct. Another way is to create a mark point. To do so, place the cursor over the desired point and press the target management switch right once. Matter of fact, go ahead and do that for me.
Buzzard 2-1, bombs away.
And done. Now I see a green square with the letter over Buzzard's speed.
Very good. We've covered mark points already, so I'll just say that you can now use it to easily find the target by driving your TTP to that mark point, which is going to be pretty close to his speed. is worth saying, though, that for mark points created through the TAD, accuracy won't be breathtaking.
Okay. Anything else?
We can also hook passively by just hovering your cursor over the symbology. You can also do all of that using your HEMIT, but we'll cover that in another sorting. The third option you have is to create your own speed directly from Buzzard's shared speed. I'll tell you how to do that once the stage is ready to engage the second one. If you're ready, go ahead and tell them to do so.
Alright, stand by. Buzzard 2-1, Tusk 3-1 is ready for you to hit Bravo.
Buzzard 2-1, Roger, in with GBU-12s from the south.
Okay, once you have Buzzard speed visible on the TAD, place your cursor above it and zoom in. Press TMS forward short to hook his speed, then TMS forward long to set his speed as yours. As you do this, notice that Buzzard's broadcasted mini speed symbol, which looks like a wedding cake with 2 tiers, transforms into a 3-tiered normal speed symbol.
Okay, I have a larger 3-tiered wedding cake on top of Buzzard's shared speed.
You should see dashed lines pointing you toward a dashed square in the HUD if you properly set it as your speed. This is known as the hook ship location box and hook ship locator line. Again, you only get this symbology if you have actively hooked that speed and set it as your own speed. We'll be doing this later on, but at this point, all it takes is to press China hat forward long to slave all of your sensors to speed.
Neat. When do we get to shoot some Mavericks? I missed that.
More than shooting the gun? I don't buy that. But we'll get to the 65 soon. Anyway, we still have a lot of stuff to cover regarding hooking. Ready?
Sure.
Alright, let's use one of our ground units in the AO. Go ahead and actively hook the westernmost green X in the AO.
Done.
Good. You should now have some new options available on the TAD screen. Next to OSB 18, you should see the type of hook. Default type is hook own, which means that the chosen target is hooked to your own aircraft. The dashed yellow hook line should run between the hook symbol and own ship symbol, which means your aircraft, and point towards your hog. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes, that's correct.
Excellent. Let's have a look at new menu items before we cover the other types of hooking. Next to OSB 10, you should see the range and bearing between the symbol you are hooking from and the one that it is hooked to. In this particular case, the bearing and range are given from the Western guide that we have hooked to door A-10. That in mind, as we'll be coming back to that. Oh, there is also the line below the bearing and range, which gives you the hooked object elevation. In case of ground units, you'll also see the type of link they have. When hooking an airborne asset, you'll see their net number. Ready to move on?
Yeah, more or less.
Good. The last new thing shown are the coordinates of the hooked object visible at the bottom of the TAD display, and in the case of aircraft, unit type and ground speed. Is that what you see?
Affirm.
You can change the format of coordinates displayed when pressing OSD 8 with the following options available: lat long, MGRS, or off. Okay to move on?
Sure.
Okay, so now for the fun part, different types of hooking. This is where the system really shines and gives you a lot of different options. Take a deep breath, grab a drink, and let me know when you're ready to delve deeper.
I think I'm ready for it.
Tusk 3-1, buzzer 2.
Buzzer 2-1, Tusk 3-1 copies. Thanks for your help today.
Happy to help. See you guys around.
Okay, so about those hook options, one cool thing about it is that you're not limited in information to or from the hook to your aircraft. You can get positional information to or from the hook to a variety of other things. These other things can be stuff like other aircraft, ground units, speed, waypoints, mark points, anchor points, bullseye, and anything else I'm forgetting.
Go on.
You can also use bullseye or the cursor as a source for the hook and use them to hook something else. For instance, you can check your wingman's position in relation to the bullseye, or your target in relation to your wingman, etc. With that segue, we'll now look into how we do those things, and I'll teach you a few tricks that may or may not be found in your pub.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so for different hooking sources, go ahead and press the OSD 18 several times for it. This will show you the available options, namely hook own, own hook, hook bull, bull hook, hook curse, curse hook, bull curse, and curse bull. See them all?
Affirm.
Very good. Let's go through them one by one. Make sure that the unit we used before is still actively hooked and switch back to hook own mode. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
In this mode, you hook the object to your aircraft. The yellow dashed line is pointing from the tank towards your hawk, and you see the bearing and range from the tank to you. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay, now press OSB 18 to switch to own hook. The situation change reversed in the sense that the line is now pointing away from your aircraft and towards the tank. Also, the bearing is the opposite of what you have seen before. Range has obviously not changed that much. Ready to move on?
Let's go.
Okay, when you press the OSB 18 once more, you will enter the hook full mode. You may need to increase the view distance to see the whole picture. Now the line is pointing from the tank towards the bullseye symbol. The bearing and range is also from the tank to bullseye. Questions?
Nope, all clear.
Good. Now press OSB again to enter full hook. You will want to use this one to check the position of a given target with relation to the bullseye, mainly to make relevant calls. This is how AWACS ABMs are able to tell you so quickly where all those bandits are. As you can imagine, this is super useful in combat to tell where a friendly or enemy position is from a common reference point.
Wish we had that in the Alpha.
Well, you have it now. Press OSB 18 again for me, please. You should be in the hook cursor mode, which is particularly interesting.
And why's that?
Because the yellow line is now pointing from the hooked object to the tad cursor, wherever it may be. If the hooked object is actively hooked, you can move the cursor around the screen while maintaining the hook, so the yellow line will start moving around the map. Try it out now.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
It is, but remember it only works with active hooking on. As a reminder, to actively hook anything, press TMS forward short. The cool thing about this mode is that it instantly gives you the bearing and range from the hooked object to the place underneath the cursor. So for example, you can quickly inform that tank crew how far they are away from a supply convoy, the bar they're asking about, or that nasty strip club in a nearby town. Just point it into that location and bam, magic.
I am sure this is what the designers of this system had in mind.
I have no doubts about it. I suppose you could use it to slam down a mark point for an IP or hold if you're doing keyhole or something boring like that. Okay, back at it. Press OSB 18 again for me to enter curse hook mode. As before, this gives you the same information but looking from the cursor position towards the hooked object.
So staying with the previous example, this would give you the info to tell the strippers which direction and how far they would have to go to get to the tank crew's location.
You've got it. Press OSB 18 once more for me to get to cursor mode. Now, this one is super interesting because it can save you a lot of time and playing with the offset page on the CPU. I don't think we've covered this so far, and with this little trick I'm going to tell you, you may not need to do it ever.
You got my attention now.
In this mode, what you can basically do is tell the position of any point on the map in relation to bullseye. Not only that, it also allows you to find any place called out and mark its location without having to go through the cumbersome CDU offset page.
Sweet.
Let's say I want you to go to bulls 170 for 25. What you do is just move the cursor to that point on the map using the range and bearing on the right as reference. If you need more accuracy, you enter the EXP mode and zoom in as much as you like. When you find that exact spot, press TMS right short to create a mark point. Done and done. The offset point set without even looking at the CD usage.
Awesome. That is indeed very useful.
cost you a Guinness. I owed one to a bro called Fish who taught me this shit. Okay, one last press to get into cursor bowl, which again is just the opposite of what we just described, in the sense that bearing and range is from cursor to bullseye.
Any good advice or tricks for this one?
Nope, not for that one.
Alright.
And that's that. Guess we've covered everything. Wait, there's still the data link with the JTAC, but I'd rather wait until you get requalified for live ammo use and play with it when you can have some fun along with it.
Cool.
Wait, one very last thing I forgot to mention. Check OSD 1717 and still have the active hook set. You should see a dot, number, and question mark. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I'm seeing.
If you press this button, it will immediately create a new waypoint with the coordinates of the actively hooked object. Mind you, it will only work with ground units, waypoints, speed, etc., and won't show up if you hook an airplane.
Okay, makes sense.
Excellent. That is all I had prepared for you today. We can get out of here and check out with the range. Go ahead and do the honors.
Roger. Turning steer 6, go 377 decimal 8. Blackjack, Tusk 3.
Tusk 3, go.
Tusk 3-1 is RTB.
Tusk 3, Blackjack, roger. Exit via Elgin or X-ray. Contact approach on 291.725. See ya!
Blackjack, Tusk 3, exit at Elgin or X-ray and contact approach. Thanks.
Okay, how about we put to practice what you just learned and do a few offset points for a recovery route.
Sounds like fun. One approach get pissed by this?
Hey, don't worry, it's all been arranged. I know it don't look tight, but I have everything already arranged before we took off.
Alright, let's do it.
Good. First, I want you to go to the following location. Bulls 330-433.
Bulls 330 for 33, got it. I've got a mark point set, turning towards it now.
Great, now another one as we go. Next, I want you to navigate to the following position. 218 for 10 from Moaba.
Warning, autopilot.
Okay, 218 for 10 from Moaba.
1, passing waypoint 2 at 40,000.
Okay, got it set up?
Perfect. Fly there, and once we arrive, contact approach. I can still for a copy.
Roger that.
Alright, we're here. Let's anchor and contact approach.
Contacting approach. Push 291.725.
Set.
Dodge 4-1, passing waypoint 3 at 40,000.
Nellis approach, test 3.
Tusk 3, approach, go ahead.
Approach, Tusk 3 is a 2-ship of A-10Cs, 22 miles to your northeast, inbound with Oscar.
Tusk 3, this is Nellis approach, radar contact. Continue inbound via active recovery. Expect the visual for 2-1 left.
Continue inbound for 2-1 left, Tusk 3.
Contact tower at 327.7. Good day.
Contact tower for Tusk 3. So long. Dallas Tower, Tusk 3-1 is on a 5-mile final for 2-1 left, full stop.
Tusk 3-1, winds are calm, check gear, cleared to land, runway 21 left.
Tusk 3-1, clear to land, 2-1 left.
Altitude, altitude.
Okay, 1 is safe on deck.
Roger, Alpha Tower, back 3-2 on final for runway 21 left, full stop.
Tusk 3-1, vacate at Alpha. Tusk 3-2, winds are calm, check landing gear, cleared to land, runway 21 left.
Vacate Alpha, contact ground at 25.
Tusk 3-2, gear, cleared to land, 21 left.
Ground, Tusk 3-1 with you at Alpha for Thunder.
Tusk 3-1, taxi Alpha, Charlie, and Golf for Thunder.
Taxi Alpha, Charlie, Golf, Tusk 3-1.